Sometimes in life, we get invited to things that we don't want to attend. And I've always been a fan of sometimes you just got to say yes. Well, it was, I think, August of 1989. And my father said to me, there's a meeting going on downstairs in a ballroom. I really don't want to attend. Would you go in my presence? Like be me there in the meeting. I'm like, well, first of all, tough shoes, but sure. And I remember walking into the room, and as I peeled open the door, I looked at this boardroom and I saw 16 of the best agents that attend all of his conferences. And they were sitting around the room and they were idea sharing. They're saying, but what about, and how did you do this? And they were revealing, and I stepped in and everybody went quiet. And of course said, where's your father? And I said, he can't make it, but he asked me to come and take notes and to learn and to help facilitate. So I'm just honored to be in your presence. And I sat down and I watched these 16 people battle and argue and debate and share and reveal. And in that day, I said to myself, this could be the most important room I've been in my career. It was the first time I was ever in a mastermind group. Mm-hmm. Only later did I read Think and Grow Rich intelligently to discover that that was one of the most important principles of that book, right? Mm-hmm. How do you ride on the shoulders of giants? How do you do and learn in an hour, John, what takes the average person a decade? You sit amongst a group of really intelligent people that are willing to reveal their losses, their upsets, and their victories to R&D and go do that faster than anybody else. Mm-hmm. So today I've got 3 of our best and brightest here with me on my podcast because we've been talking about doing a show about how do we do mastermind groups. Yes. So Val, you're really the origin behind all this, right? I don't know if you're the origin behind the group, but you and I communicate so often. Yes. So why don't we just very quickly go around and just introduce ourselves so everybody knows who we've got. So Val, you want to start first?
Sure. I'm Valerie Upham and I'm in San Diego.
That was a quick introduction. I like. Beat that, John.
I'll go a little longer. I'm John Bathurst. I'm in Manhattan Beach, and I cover the coastal market of Los Angeles, and I'm with Compass.
There you go. Zac?
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, I'm Zac Nelson with the Nelson team in Denver, Colorado, also with Compass. And I work on a family team with my mom and my sister, and we've been working together for about 21 years now.
Outstanding. So how long have you all been masterminding?
So Patrick, our coach, Zac and mine, said to Zac and I about 9 years ago, start a mastermind. Here's who I want you. And it was all Patrick's coaching clients throughout the country, from West Coast to East Coast. And we started. And when we did it, we were using Uber Conference.
Yes.
At 6:30 in the morning, Pacific Standard Time, using Uber Conference, way before people were doing video, Zoom,
et cetera.
It's all COVID, right?
Yeah.
And the group, sort of evolved over time. I think our group actually shrunk to about 5 or 6 agents.
Yeah.
And then we started building again. And what we have today, we've been together now. I mean,
I've been in the group for 3.5 years. And I'm there's 15 in the group.
Yeah.
And I'm probably came in as number 8 or 9?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're at 15 strong right now and really strong.
Mm-hmm. So why are you guys in it? I mean, we're all being pulled 1,000 different directions. Why spend that time? And then I want to unpack how do you do it and the sausage making behind it and get some insight there. But so Zac, why do you show up on these calls?
Before I was in this mastermind group, I mean, I coached with Patrick, with your brother, for a few years, and I got a lot of value out of it. But I didn't know what I was missing.
Yes.
And once I started to connect with other like-minded professionals who are at the top of their game and want to elevate their games, then I saw exactly what it was that so many other successful agents were experiencing.
Yes. Yes. It's almost like the problem of no problems.
Yeah.
You don't know, like the old story of you drive every day to the office the same way every single day and you just kind of get into that routine. And even though you're all highly successful, you don't know. And then one day they close the road and you take a new route and you realize you got to the office 4 minutes faster. And you're like, I've been driving to the office for 5 years back and forth every day, wasting 8 minutes every single day, 6-7 days a week. You don't even know that you have the problem until you get in the presence of others and you realize if Valerie can do it, you could do it. Or in the case of some videos and other things, if John's doing it, it's working. Hey, John, we're in different markets. I'm stealing your exact video. Right.
Yeah.
So Valerie, what about you?
For me, I remember about 10 years ago, we were at an event and you said to the audience, you really need to be in a mastermind.
Yes.
And it took a while. And I remember wanting to be in Gantry Wilson's mastermind, and I now am. So I'm actually in 2 masterminds.
Wow.
But it took that long. And so when you asked me, it was a huge compliment. And I wanted to be at the table with people who were sharing ideas. Because when we go to events, we get to share ideas.
Yes.
But then there's this void in between.
Yes.
So I feel like when we're together, and we're together weekly, and we'll even have offshoots of that weekly meeting on other topics if we want to focus on YouTube or accountability for making our calls.
Mini masterminds off the mastermind.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So it's more than the accountability. For me, I come up with all these crazy ideas and I want to share those with the group to see which ones make the most sense. And when something works for me, I want to share it with them so that they can then master it as well.
So the first part of this is a feedback loop. Like, hey, I'm thinking about this. What do you guys think? And then, what if like John says, hey, I tried that 2 years ago, total waste.
Exactly.
And then Zac says, hey, I did it a little bit and it kind of worked. Like, do you guys massage all that and try and work it out?
Like Chris Kwan, who's in our group.
Yeah, Chris.
He talked to us about ChatGPT over 2 years ago.
Yes.
And we're
It was like
what?
just as it was coming online,
Yes.
like really becoming popular. We're like, what is this thing?
November
Most people have tried.
2023.
November, that's exactly.
Yes. No, 22. November 22.
22, yes.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about this group is the accountability. When we first started the group, having people show up every single week was really difficult.
Yes.
I mean, Patrick Ferry, your brother, he says, put a fee on it. If they don't show up, they have to put $50 into the kitty.
Yep.
And we did that for a while, and we collected some money, and then people left, and then we kind of reorganized. Now, everybody just shows up.
Yes.
I mean, they don't want to miss out.
Right.
I agree. It's a bit like coaching. I mean, we coach every week with our coaches.
Yes.
And so it's like, we don't want to miss this because when we're there, we know that we're improving our business. It's holding us accountable to do the things. And if some of us miss, I feel bad if I miss. I feel like I'm letting people down in the group.
Yes.
You don't want to miss something because they maybe last week they shared a win or a listing appointment they were going to go on. And then you want to hear the next week if they got it. And we have a text chain too.
Where we got lots of text chains, lots of text
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, I think the internal rule is, and I'm sorry if you're watching this and you're a new coaching client, if you're not in multiple group chats inside of the ecosystem, you're missing something, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's just like, ooh, did everybody hear that idea? Well, let's unpack that later, right? Like, so I've been in mastermind groups, I would say arguably my entire professional career. Even today, I just started a new one called The Founders, and it's like 16 guys and gals, and everybody's a CEO, founder, startup, big company, small company, one CRO, but it's a CRO of a huge company. And we just, like the text exchange, there's so much value in the text exchange of people like, hey, did you read this article? Hey, did you find out this? Like literally, hey, Perplexity is looking to buy TikTok. Ferry, didn't you invest in TikTok or in Perplexity? Oh my God, yes, I did. Like, right, like just you. It's like real time, like here's what's going on among some of the brightest minds. And like for me, it's not entertaining. It is like data consumption.
Yes. Yep.
So, all right. So let's play a game though. The person listening desperately wants to get into a mastermind group, but they don't belong to our ecosystem. Like you're indirectly a part of it, but like, you haven't officially gotten in yet. Can they start one on their own?
Sure.
How do they do it?
We're going to help them.
Let's talk about it.
Well, I know this is going to probably air after the event.
Yes.
But we have we're doing a breakout for this week.
Yes.
And
okay. No. Don't talk about that because this is gonna come out like the next week.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's tomorrow.
Okay.
How do I start, Zac? How do I start a mastermind group?
I think you have to be able to have some network of other agents that you put it out there. I mean, there's probably a lot of people who think about it, but they don't take the initiative. So first of all, it takes initiative.
Yes.
You have to have the want to do it, and there's going to be other people who will follow.
Yes.
So if you at least put that out there to other agents.
Who do I put it out to?
It could be people. Well, I mean, for our
Should I be
group,
masterminding with local agents in my market?
you can. We like the fact that we're all in different markets.
I agree.
Every one of us is in a different market.
Well, that's a
all around
priority.
the
That's
country.
a priority to be in different markets.
Okay.
And it depends on your goal. You can have a mastermind group in your own city, but like you could be at different ends of the county where
Yeah.
you're helping each other, but it depends on the goal.
Yeah.
So you have to have a common goal. I have a mastermind group that is not with real estate agents. It's with my financial planner, the CPA,
Yep.
the attorneys, and we have a common goal. So first is figuring out what that goal is,
Yep.
and then joining with a group of people and inviting them in and deciding on a time that
Do you
works.
think there's like a vetting process for who gets in and who doesn't?
Absolutely.
What's the vetting process?
Part of it is do we know the people? Or of course, if we're going to know the people, but then we can vouch for them. We can look at what they do. Like if they have a specialty. Everybody in our group, we specialize in certain aspects of our business, and so we look for diversity among.
That's good.
Like
we can give to you and you can give to us, and collectively we all get better.
Exactly,
I love that.
exactly. Because that's, if all of us were great with just our SOI and our clients, well,
More of the same. It's just more of the same.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. That's good. Okay. Do you guys have rules?
We used
Yeah.
to. I don't know that we do.
Well,
you have
we
to
start
show
off with-
up. You need to be on camera.
Yeah.
And if you miss too many meetings, and I don't know how many because I'm always there.
Yeah.
So, but if you miss too many meetings, then that's not okay.
Okay.
And we'll call you out on it. And also, you have to be in coaching because that's what our common thread is.
Common thread, common theme. We're all
Yes.
going for performance.
Yeah, and you have to go to at least one Tom Ferry event a year.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
And you
there's
have to
times when,
participate.
yeah,
You have to
absolutely.
participate. You have to bring value.
Yeah.
You have to give as much as you get.
Yeah. So in my case, it's very similar. We always had like, hey, we're all in the space of, say, residential or prop tech. We're all founding, whether it's SaaS-based companies or service-based companies. So we all share this in common. But for me, part of this founders group is, and none of us compete. So one of the mastermind groups you guys would know was myself and a guy named Steve Harney, who was the founder of KCM, and then my buddy Austin, who started a little company called Dot Loop, and then Picasso, and then my friend Greer, who started Boomtown. And the four of us would meet all the time, and these guys were blown away, like that we would all be able to be in a place where we could share so freely, so openly about, here's my P&L, this is what's going on, these are the challenges that I'm facing. And there is a therapeutic element, at least in our groups.
yeah.
We get very vulnerable, very honest. It's very circle of trust. What stays in the room, right? Stays in the room. And the only other game that we would play was if you sell your business, you're out. So when Austin sold his company to Zillow, we're like, dude, we love you. You're out. And then Greer sold his business. I was like, you're out. Got to start a new group.
Yeah.
Right. So no rules, but rules, more commonality and values.
Yes.
So walk me through a typical, if people were looking for a model for a typical Zoom meeting, is it 10 minutes? Is it 4 hours? And what do you talk about? Does somebody lead each one? Is it just a random, like, how does it work?
All of the best players have the best coaches. You and your business are no different. It's time to get in the game. Find your real estate coach today.
In the first year of in my coaching, I doubled my business, and I had been a veteran agent of 12 years and couldn't break that glass ceiling, and this ecosystem changed that for me. My coach helped me level up on so many aspects of my business, but doubling my business was like game over.
So it's an hour long, and we've done different formats. So, for example, one format when 12-week year became popular,
Yes.
then we said for this quarter, for this next 12 weeks,
Yep.
we're going to focus on that.
I love
so
it.
that was our agenda. Then usually after an event, so after Summit, then we'll all get together, we'll talk about the talking points
Yep.
and what we benefited from, and then we'll all decide, like, we were really interested. So right now, we're really interested in YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So that has become the topic.
Good.
Starting out, I think it's a little more difficult. I think in the beginning, what one should do is have one person in the group take a week.
Yeah.
And so in the other mastermind group that I'm in with Gantry, we all take a week and we're responsible for the topic of that week.
Yes.
We're all contributing during that meeting, but there's an initiator of what the content's going to be.
And the topic you don't have to be an expert in the topic, but if you're not the expert and you want to talk about video, bring a guest speaker on to talk about
I was
video.
just going to ask you to bring in guest experts.
We bring our coaches on. We bring guest speakers in.
Smart.
Some of those people, those speakers, have come on and they've joined our group when they've kind of passed the test.
Yeah.
And we've brought, I mean, a lot of other people within the ecosystem as well, because we know, you know, when they've specialized in something, you know, that we want to learn more about. That it's like we're not that expert. Like, come to us, give us exactly. So that's been extremely valuable.
I do the same thing with this founders group. So I have a friend of mine who the first time I met him was like maybe 13, 14 years ago. We've known each other for almost 20 years. But you know, you can know someone but not actually know. And we were on a snowboarding trip, and I think you've heard me tell this story that he had his laptop open and I had my laptop open. And I'm like, hey man, what are you doing over there? He's like, just reviewing the, you know, like 2,000 appointments that we booked this week for my sales team. And I was like, come again? Right. Well, now that guy is the chief revenue officer of a nearly $700 million a year business called 3 Day Blinds. That same company has grown exponentially, sold twice, right now owned by Hunter Douglas, a global, you know, drapery and mini blinds. So I was like, hey, Dan, would you come to this founders meeting? And, you know, your company does 700 million and everybody else could be a startup or, you know, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 30 million, 50 million, whatever it is. And just talk about what it is you do. So same thing. And of course he was like, can I be a part of the group? He's like, I love these guys. This is super fun. Like, so I think there's something to that. Do you guys do any like books clubs? Do you do any like, hey, let's all listen to this. Let's all study that. Any of that stuff happen?
Well, the 12-week year, I mean, that's one thing. We've,
Dustin Fox's book, I forget the
Atomic
name of
Habits.
it.
We go with the book. We do a lot there.
Yeah.
And I think that the, well, what I was going to say is the result of it is we've become such a close family.
Yes.
That, and it's a safe space. I mean, there's different personalities. There's different religious beliefs to political beliefs and all this stuff.
But no politics, talking about rules.
Yes.
Right.
I'm always reminding people of that one. That's
but everybody respects each other. And when we're at these events, we usually do some fun stuff together.
I would imagine. Okay.
Like today, 8 of us from the group, we went to Epcot and we all have matching shirts with our names on them and our markets on the back. In Disney font.
I love it. So it's a little branding, a little promotion.
Sure, why not? We had
good
a great
photos. That's cool.
And when one of us is sick or we've had a loss in our family, we'll all get together separate from that individual and we'll you know, say, hey, what are we going to get them? And then we send them a gift.
Well, it's just, you become like I think every great mastermind group, we're going to idea share, we're going to grow together, we're going to work together, but somebody's going to be down, somebody's going to need help, whatever it may be. We all kind of rally around that person, no doubt. What do you do if you start a mastermind group and you realize you selected people that wanted to belong but don't want to contribute?
We call John.
John,
he's the heavy. He's the heavy.
I'm the heavy. I don't know how I became that, but I am. And again, we have heart-to-heart conversation with them, one-on-one, not as a group and ganging up, but just kind of talking about we have rules, but they're kind of like unwritten rules of showing up, participating, video on, taking the charge 1 week of talking about something.
Be a contributing force in the group.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that conversation isn't like, hey, you're out. It's what's going on in your life. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Because maybe there's something happening that we don't need, we don't know about.
Well, that's generally what the case is when people aren't participating.
Always.
Yeah. Tanya Jones will always like do little hearts and things like that. In the last month, I'm like, what's going on? Where is she? She's really encouraging in the group, and she just had a lot going. They lost a dog. Yeah. So she disappeared for a while. So we check in. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share something, and I would like to know from the three of you, looking back over your 3.5 years, your 9+ years of being in this mastermind group, was there a moment that shifted your business?
I have a story about that. It's not my business, but it's someone in our group.
Yeah.
So Tracy Farrell is now in Park City, Utah.
I know Tracy.
And she shared a story with me last night that was really touching. She said that when she left Orange County and she moved to Park City, that she was considering just quitting real estate altogether. She had a child. She was going to be a stay-at-home mom. And John invited her into the group. And at the time, Chris Kwan had just joined the group. And she said that when she found that out, she's like, I need to up my game. And she said yes. And she said she faked it till she made it. Now she sold 30 million this last year.
Best year last year.
She would not have been where she is now had John not.
Well, and she says, John,
her.
You saved my career. I said, no, I didn't.
Well, but we open and we close doors.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example that everyone that knows the company Keeping Current matters.
Sure.
So we would do it with that one little mastermind group, the 4 people I mentioned, myself included. We would do very analytical, deep dive, critical thinking exercises on each other's companies. So Austin, why is it that when I'm inside of .loop, it takes 4 clicks to get to this? I should be able to do that in 1 click. And let me tell you all the reasons why and the internal sausage making, and I'll have to talk to my engineers. Well, fast forward 2 months later, it's 1 click and you get there, right? So we're all sitting in a room, and I don't know who ultimately gets the credit for this, but we were talking about Steve at KCM, big Steve, and, God bless him, right? And he's like, well, it's just hard, that's just, agents, like there's just not enough agents that want to know the market. And I said, Steve, I don't think it's like they don't want to know the market. Everyone has to know the market. I think the struggle is I get your material from KCM and I post it on Facebook, and the only people that get credit is KCM. And I think it was maybe Greer who said, dude, just let the agent put their face on it and their contact information and personalize it, because that's important in marketing. They had like 3,000 subscribers. A year later, they had like 10,000 subscribers. Did their marketing improve?
Yes.
No.
It was
the only thing was they'd be on stage and say, you're going to get all this great stuff. And Zac, you can put your face on it, put your contact info. So when you share that, they know you understand the market. And that was it. And now Steve had been in the business for 7 or 8 years, right? And he knows that real estate agents want to put their face and their contact because we're branding our business. This is me. I'm here to help, right?
But we need that feedback because we're just in a silo otherwise.
Exactly. So do you all ever say, everybody put in your listing presentations, everybody grab one that isn't yours and critique it?
We haven't
or something
done
like
exactly
that.
like that.
Yeah.
We've presented on there. Like I've done my buyer consultation on
Yes.
there and presented that and then got feedback from people and made some tweaks and improvements on it. It was like I was blind. We have blind spots, and so we need to have that.
Well, you made improvements to yours, but then we all made improvements to our own
Well,
as a result of that.
1,000%.
Yeah.
But that's where I think, to me, when I look at masterminds, I've done this with another group I belong to. So we all took everybody's P&L without any personal details, drop it into ChatGPT and say, my friend wants to get a 30% lift in his margins and he wants, a 20% lift in ordinary income coming from the business. What are the adjustments he needs to make? And everybody did it to their P&Ls, to somebody else's. And there was like, hey man, it says you waste a ton of money over here and you have this big bucket called marketing and it doesn't know what to do with it. So it cut in half, right? Like it was fascinating just to be able to because it's fun to talk ideas, but I'm in this mindset, and maybe it's just the mastermind groups that I'm a part of. It's like, we don't want to beat each other up, but we do want to talk about the blind spots. We want to talk about the biases. We want to look for the areas of massive lift that this person just isn't seeing. And it's hard because we're all so busy and we're all so good at what we do that we oftentimes don't have that really analytical, critical look at our business. And it's hard to be on the hot seat, but man, when it's over, you're just like, I'm going to make so much more money. I'm going to serve so many more people. This is going to be or I'm going to get more time back. So do you guys do some of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, in our group, John Harrison in New York City.
I love John.
He's our analytical guy.
Oh yeah,
he's our analytical guy.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he is operationally sound as any agent is.
Did John not show one of my buddies in my building a unit? Did you guys hear about this in New York City?
I don't know.
Remember this.
I got to follow up with John on that.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a friend who just randomly bought an apartment in New York City, but I think John showed him something.
Okay.
I don't know if he bought from John. John, if you're watching this, sorry.
He created a cookie jar. It's a spreadsheet with we put all of our ideas in. So if ever we aren't sure what we're going to talk about the next week, then we can go back to the cookie jar. We all have topics and links and That's
good. All right. So as we wrap up this show, I think it's evident to the person that's listening. One, they should start a mastermind, right? There's
Yep.
no doubt. Right on the shoulders of others, accelerate everything faster, learn from everybody else's successes and mistakes. Any sort of closing thoughts around masterminds?
Well, the key element for masterminding in terms of numbers, you can have a mastermind of 4 people.
Yep.
But we recommend 8 is the perfect amount because when you go to dinner together,
Table of 8.
And
Preferably round.
breaking bread is extremely important together.
What's that again?
Breaking bread together
Yeah,
is
I
extremely
agree.
important. So when we go to an event, we always have a dinner or some sort of meal
100%.
together.
We make sure that we're getting together, and it's, I have to say, it's one of the things that I look forward to the most in the year.
I
I mean,
agree.
it really is.
I agree.
one of the things about attending one event a year is that we come back with so many, not necessarily new ideas,
Yes.
but just implementing. And
Right.
we come back so energized.
Right.
And those are the first things we talk about on our next call.
Yes. It doesn't always have to be new ideas. Though. Just wait for the next couple of days. But sometimes it's just, I'm now ready for that idea.
Right.
There's at all your level, it's more like I now have room and capacity for that idea I've wanted to do for a long time. I mean, a lot of you put off video for a while. And then finally you were like, okay, and that, that's still not a new idea.
Well,
Right?
we're
And
all
it wasn't
in a-
when I started
right.
in 2007. So
Right.
Well, we're on a
just for
YouTube,
saying.
a mini mastermind for YouTube right now because we all
Smart.
want to up our game in YouTube.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
So we're talking about kind of leveling up as far as, the ideas and, implementation. For me, one of the biggest things has been the referrals and connections. I mean, that is, my business has grown by leaps and bounds when we really started to come together as a group and helping each other. I have one quick example. So there was a referral post for an agent in Texas, in Dallas, who was looking for an agent in Denver. And somebody in the group called it out and said, "Hey, Misty, do you know this agent?"
Yeah.
Misty Stewart here in Dallas,
Yes.
or in Dallas.
Yes.
And Misty said, "You know what? She's in my office. Let me call her." She calls her, advocates for me. And because of that call, I got the buyer and closed them.
Bingo.
So it's like those kinds of things that we do for each other that we're
course.
going above and beyond, that has been just game changer.
Well, I'll piggyback on it. You said it earlier that it's okay for you to mastermind with local people in your marketplace. A friend of mine, Ron, who now runs G-Rate, years ago, I mean like 29 years ago, we created a thing called Power Players. So he had like Maxine Gellens, Craig Newton, a bunch of the best agents in all of San Diego County. And he, as the lender, got them all together once a month. They would share listings. And this is maybe back in the day when it wasn't as frequent for you to say, I'm in Del Mar and I'm going to go sell a house in Chula Vista. You would just refer somebody down to Chula Vista, where it seems these days a lot of people will make that drive and right. So back then, it was awesome because once a month, even in your local marketplace, you got together with a bunch of the best agents. And even though none of them directly competed because they were all in separate territories, they were all in San Diego. Then they started running full page ads in the San Diego, whatever Tribune or whatever it was, this full page ad of the map of San Diego County with all of their faces. And it was like, if you were in that group and you were in San Diego back in the day, you were a legit rock star. And it made everybody, and they were all, Coal Banker, Banana, ERA, C21, didn't make a difference, independent, all separate, but that was really interesting positioning.
Yeah.
It'd be fun
Smart.
for you guys to think about how you could do the same thing, even if it was with a map. I belong to this network of
We've
people.
talked about this. It just hasn't happened yet, but
I'll do it 35% referral fees. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well,
I'm just
talking
messing
about
with you.
being in the same market, there are 2 people in our mastermind group. Jen Collins is in Danville
Yes.
and Tanya Jones, and
Yes.
they're both in the same market. And when we were doing the interview process, we couldn't choose between which one.
They were both great.
And they stepped up to the plate and said, "We don't care that we're in the same market. We're not here to compete. We're here to be in the mastermind." Because there are a lot of referrals that go back and
Of
forth.
course.
But they were the bigger people, and
Yeah.
we have 2 great people that contribute in different ways.
I love it. I love
There's
it.
a big difference between a mastermind and a referral group.
1,000%.
The referrals are a byproduct of you mastermind.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's like, oh, San Diego. Oh my God, Val, right? It's just like, oh, Manhattan Beach, you got to call John, right? Like, because you guys become friends.
Yep.
You're helping one another when someone's down and when someone's up and ideas. So it makes a ton of sense.
And a lot of times it's 1 degree of separation. you know?
Always. Well, I'm really proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Congrats. I
Thanks.
mean, 9
Thank you.
years now with the Mastermind. right? So I'll have to give
awesome.
kudos to my brother, Patrick.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
absolutely.
All right, a newbie, 3.5 years in. Step it up, Val. All right, so hey, if you want, you're going to see their Instagram handles down there. Make sure you reach out. If you got a question, you want to go deeper, absolutely do that. And hey, thank you always for being a part of our community. And look, maybe, just maybe, 2025 is the year that you form a mastermind group or join a mastermind group so you can ride on the shoulders of giants and accelerate faster with the collective insights versus just trying to do it on your own. I wish you all the best. We'll see you on the next show. Take care.